Gee whiz, it went quiet. How marvellous. You're trained already. Done. My job is done. Entrained. Yes. Entrained to be quiet. Does that work? Maybe. Any questions? Any comments? Sure. Do you want the box or do you want to just project? Yep. Mm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm. So you had an orientation which was changing and an intention of in a spatial relationship. And so what I'm hearing Sylvia say, there's a couple of things in there. The feet orienting to the floor is obviously key, but the way you describe the orientation, the whole of yourself was in the picture. And often when we're going to do a movement, we're so intent on the target of the movement that we're only thinking, say, about the hand and the chalk on the board. And we're not thinking about our feet on the ground or any of the links in the chain in between the hand and the feet on the ground, for example. So what I'm hearing is, if I can kind of elaborate on what you're saying, is that when Sylvia was doing that movement, she had the whole of her body in mind. Because I could see that you did, you know. That, you know, there wasn't any bits kind of flapping out in the breeze because she'd forgotten to think about them, as it were. I mean, not literally flapping out in the breeze. So that's what we'll keep bringing your attention to, is this orientation to the whole of me and how I'm orienting, how my head is oriented in relation to my feet, or in that instance, shoulders to knees was one of the prompts. And then how my various bits are orienting in the environment. And the ground is consistent. So how I'm orienting to the ground is really kind of crucial as well, as you can feel, because where we are in relation to the ground means that's what that our organization has to emerge out of, our orientation, our relationship to gravity. I mean, that's the big shift in the theories of motor control, which we used to be very hierarchical, like, you know, movement just emerged out of our brain. And now we've very much recognized that movement emerges out of all of those things. Our orientation to self, within self, and then where we are in space, in the environment, and then the environmental conditions, and it emerges out of what we're actually doing. In that instance, we're rolling up. So thanks. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's not just Feldenkrais people that say that this, you know, good organization emerges out of a multitude of factors. The rest of science is catching up with us. But catching up with our experience, let's say. We can be arrogant, can't we? Feldenkrais practitioners, we can be a bit, yeah, we know that, because we know it. Like, so let's start with an ATM then, seeing as we're nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. I sound like a parent, don't I? You're only nice if you're quiet. Yes, they're much easier to love. Yeah, I find myself that with my little step grandchildren. It's like, I say, oh, you're such a good baby. When they're being quiet, they're good. And I think, oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh, they are that. There's nothing more beautiful in the world. And I passed that. Someone gave me that tip when I had my son about, if you want to throw them against the wall during the day, just at night when they're asleep, go and look at them and you can forgive everything. Yeah. Yeah. You all look beautiful when you're asleep. We know because we watch you sleeping in here. You still have that beautiful repose. And that's why we don't take offense. So I remember in our training, there was this funny thing about it doesn't matter if you sleep because you'll still learn. And I just go, oh, because you're not. You're learning something, but you're not listening to the words. You're off having a psychotic episode. But having said that, if you have to sleep, you have to sleep. If you're doing it all the time, like I said, then we'll come and kick you. But it's about attending to needs, and that gets back to that satiety thing, Marion, about, if you really need to sleep, then you pay attention to that physiological need and you fulfill it in some way.